Hi ladies, how are you? Today I'm going to make spaghetti bolognese, but I want to make it as healthy as I possibly can. So no bought sauces, I'm going to make my own, but with the help of this wee pack here. So this is just literally a pack of spices, all right? So I've got my mince out of the freezer, it's been defrosting all day. I'm going to fry off my mince with a wee bit of garlic, a wee bit of oil. I am going to add then I'm going to add spices, add the canned tomatoes, and just let that simmer away. At the very end, I'm going to put in a wee bit of creme fraiche. This is as good as cream, but with half the fat. So so I'm going to use a couple of spoonfuls of that and then just stir it in at the end. Now you're going to ask me, where's the veg? So I have mushrooms, I have onions, and I have peppers, but Dean will not eat any of that. So I'm going to cook that and fry that up separately. So whenever I do my plate, I'm going to add them on to the top. Okay, so you might have the same issue with your little ones. All right, so if that's the case, just cook them separate. All right, okay, so I am going to put on the mince in the pan. So in the pan, I'm going to put in some oil, the frying pan, and I am also going to put in some garlic. And I use lazy garlic. I do have fresh stuff there, but today I do not fancy my hands being smelling of garlic the rest of this evening. So some oil and then just like a wee teaspoon of this. So I'm going to do that straight away. Give me a wee second there till I get the pan on. So pan on. And I use this kind of frying pan here, girls, for two reasons. Look how deep that is, okay? So once the mince goes in there, it doesn't make a massive mess of my cooker because it's so deep. And all the Japs don't go in the cooker. That is real life hacks right there. All right, so a wee bit of oil, a wee bit of olive oil, and a wee half teaspoon of my lazy garlic. It's as simple as that. All right, so all I'm going to do is let that heat up, and then I'm going to put the mince in there, and then I'm going to add that. Okay, so meanwhile, I'm going to chop my onions, so I hope I do not cry. And literally, I'm going to add a wee bit of butter. So nice and thin. Obviously, the thinner you cut it. To be fair, I don't like a big chunky onion in my food either. But these are going to be nice and soft. This wee knife, girls, is brilliant. It's out of McFall's Butchers in Portland. And this that there is just as sharp as one of those, and it's brilliant. I use that for everything, so that's good. Bruna Duffin had one. I was going, where do you get those? They are lethal. So I was delighted once I found it in Portland, and I can't even remember how much they were because I bought it with my meats. So yeah, just chop up that onion, nice and fine. I know this isn't very glamorous watching me cut up an onion, girls, but we are waiting for the pan to heat up for the mince. And literally 15 minutes should brown your mince, brown it really well, and then we'll add that in once that's finished. Okay, so that's the onions done. Let's go on to the peppers. So go yellow pepper. I fancy a yellow one today. So just take out your seeds. Literally, that's all you have to do is pull out that center. There's the pan going. I'm going to add my mince here, girls. Nope. There's the bin there. And then just mash that down so the mince breaks up. Alright, so just going to give that time to fry off. And meanwhile, I am just going to cut my peppers. Alright, so literally I just cut it in half and then just cut it in strips. So if you try and cut them in around the same size of the onions, the best you can. So literally, frying veg takes no length of time at all. Cut it in half, turn it round, and then go. It really is as simple as that, girls. And you know what? It does not take long. There's no major prep in this. Alright, so I think I'm just going to do one pepper. So it's my pepper and onions ready, and that's just for me. And then I'll get ready to take you over to the frying pan. Now, we also need tin tomatoes for the bolognese sauce. And I always like to add a wee sweetener, just to sweeten up the dish up, because I know tomatoes can be quite sharp sometimes. So literally, take you over here. Alright girls, so as you can see, the mince is in here, it's all broke up. I'm going to add a wee bit of salt, because you should always season your meat or your chicken, no matter what it is, your chicken. So that is just sea salt. I am adding so much better than table salt. Alright, so just fry that off. And now it is time, so it's not completely cooked, it's about 90% there. So I'm going to open this wee pack and add it in, and then I'm going to add in a little bit of water. There's the pack in. Just stir it about 30 seconds or two. Just to get that mince coated and all that nice flavour. And now time for some water out of the kettle. Just to make sure all those don't stick too much to the bottom of the pan. Alright, so we're just going to let that water heat up there. I'm just going to mix those together, just to make sure that flavour gets everywhere. I'm just going to let that boil right up. Let that meat absorb all that spice and flavour. Alright, leave that sitting there. Now, meanwhile, we can start frying the onions and peppers, okay? Mushrooms, I think I'm going to add mushrooms as well. So, get this heat on. Hold it right. Sauce now. Alright, so add some olive oil. Because it is onions, I want to add a wee bit of butter as well. Literally is just, whoops, the hard butter. I use Golden Cow. And it is literally a knob of butter. Now, I'm going to also add salt because it helps sweat the onions. It brings the moisture out of the onions. And adding butter and oil together will stop that mixture from burning. Alright, so in we go with the onions. We're going to cook them first because they take a wee bit longer to cook than the peppers. That wee water on. I'm going to add a lid and let them sweat. I'm going to boil the hot water for the pasta. Hot water is on. This sauce is starting to bubble away, so I think now we will add the tin of tomatoes. I'm going to turn this down a wee bit, it's boiling too much. So just a tin of chopped tomatoes already, because who could be arsed having to chop them. And then turn that down low and let that simmer away. Just give it a good mix through. And that is literally as easy as that is. So it really is as homemade as you're going to get, with all the right spices already in it. Brilliant. Alright, so let's see what these onions are doing. Oops. Yeah, so they're frying away nicely. Brilliant. Make sure they're not sticking. Go back on with this. going to show you the pasta. So, this is the size of pasta that me and Dean use, okay? So it's a 3 kilo bag. I cannot remember how much it is, but I think it's under a £5. And I get that in Linus's in Cookstown because it's such good value rather than the wee bags nearly £1. So literally I'm going to put enough pasta. And that to do me and Dean a couple of days. And if you're following a food plan, the weight of that pasta is very different from the weight of that once it's cooked because it holds water. So if you are following a food plan, just make sure and ask whoever it is that's doing it for you, is it cooked pasta weight or is it raw pasta weight? Okay. So I think that's enough to do us for a couple of days. Check these onions. Sauce is looking good. We're going to finish that off with a wee bit of creme fraiche because that's just a beautiful flavour. Now, onions. And we're going to check. Yeah, they're coming along nice and soft. Ooh. Yeah, now it's time to add the peppers. So the onions are half cooked at this stage. And now we're going to add peppers. There. And it's just marinating them we were around. And I think I'm going to put the lid back on and let them sweat off a wee bit too, gardens. A bit more in the cooker. There. Alright, sauce is cooking away. Next thing we need is pasta on, so I think we add just a wee bit of salt to pasta. Alright, and literally girls, that is it. That's as easy as that is to do. Alright, so now ladies, so we are almost finished with the pasta. Just let me turn the heat down on the bolognese. So bolognese is cooked. Now I'm adding creme fraiche. So in this creme fraiche, there's a total of 204 calories in that whole. Let me see, 204 calories for 100 grams. All right, 204 calories. So if we're using like a quarter of that for all of that mince bolognese, I think we're doing okay. It tastes a wee bit like sour cream, but a wee bit sweeter. But it just brings a lovely colour to, you can see it, you'll see whenever I put it up. Alright, just mix that through and put that in really low heat just to cook through a wee bit. Meanwhile, onions and peppers are cooked. Just leaving the lid on there, make sure that's nice and warm. Now, if you wanted to, at this stage, you could add any kind of beans at all to your bolognese. Like these beans here are high in fibre and high in protein, so that is how I get extra protein into my food, is with beans, especially for chili con carnes. I'm sure bolognese, why not? Kidney beans if you want. Now, obviously if your kids don't eat them, you have to cook them on the side, like I have to do with Dean. But it's a good way to get more protein and fibre into your food. Pasta is done. So really cooking pasta to what consistency you like. Like I like it a wee bit al dente, they call it. I don't like pasta cooked the whole way through where it's sitting all fat and pudgy. So, drain that off. And then, perfect. Drain that off. Back in the pan. Brilliant. Alright, so I'm just going to get a wee dish here. Now I use a small plate. It's bigger than a side plate, but smaller than a dinner plate. So it's in between the two. So I think if that's full, well then I have a big feed in front of me, okay? So literally for me, in around 150 grams of pasta. I think that's what that is there. My scales have gone AWOL. So for me, that's loads. I'm going to pile this sauce, turn everything off. I'm going to pile this sauce on top of it. Like so. Now for the kids, you can add a wee bit of cheese if you want. Alright, and because I love my protein, an extra spoonful. And I'm going to add my mushrooms, not my mushrooms, my lovely golden sweet onions and peppers, a dollop on the top. Yep, that's fine. And healthy spaghetti bolognese. Enjoy!